everyone. Welcome back to Black Tech Queens on Flags 365. My name's Karimah Campbell, and today I'm going to be joined by another amazing tech queen. So Black Tech Queens is all about inspiring each other and future talent, helping us to achieve our aspirations, and really recognizing and celebrating each other's achievements. And remember, not only Black Tech Queens can join, we want everybody involved. We really want to build out our network of allies, because ultimately, the stronger we are together, the further we can get. So make sure that you're sharing this with your network and really get the name out there. And you can also follow us on our social media. So we've got Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook at Black Tech Queens. And obviously, remember to like and subscribe to this video. And we're not going anywhere. So if there's any gems from today's show that you just really want to listen back and just you didn't quite catch the first time, or if you want to watch some of the previous interviews, you can catch them all on this channel. So make sure you're going back, watching and listening. So I want to jump straight into talking to today's guest. Not only is she an amazing woman, she's also proof of what joy you can get from following your destiny. And she's used challenging times such as COVID-19 to really help find new leases in her business and further her career. So without any further delay, let me introduce this amazing tech queen. Welcome to the show, Marie Kuffour. Welcome to the show, Marie. What have I done? There you go. There she is.
Hi. So great to be with you. It's great. Thank you for the warm welcome and introduction.
No worries. I'm so happy to have you with us. Although I think that technical fault was because of you, because I'm nervous around being around a real event professional. So, yeah.
We can do this. It's cool.
So we're going to jump straight in with the big question. Who is Marie?
Who is Marie? Well, I'm going to take the opportunity, whilst I can, to say that I am a young Black woman, whilst I can say it. I would describe myself as a person who's on a journey of growth. I'm really committed to evolving. I guess what that really means is in every area of my life, I look to be the best version of myself. So in terms of my well-being, in terms of my spirituality, in terms of obviously my business, excellence is my thing. And I guess furthermore in my relationships. So I am a married young lady and I have twins. So it's very important for me to be a positive role model to my family. So yeah, for me, I love growth. I love education. I love new knowledge. And fundamentally, that means learning from people. Knowledge comes from people. Yeah. I would also say that I love experiences. What do I mean by that? I love to enjoy sensory life in all its senses, really. I have a lens of seeing things as experiences. So that could be on a spectrum of a poor experience, that wasn't great, didn't enjoy that, right through to that is a phenomenal mind-blowing experience. So yeah, I love, when I say experiences, I'm not just referring to events, just generally my outlook on life is just to take in all aspects and to enjoy that. I guess that's what my gift is, being able to turn what some people might see as average into an enjoyable moment, not just for myself, but for the enjoyment of other people. That's my thing.
Okay. So with that then, do you have an example of an experience that you've helped to find, I guess, the joy inside of?
In that sense, particularly special events. So I think I'll go back to my early years when I guess I didn't even know that I would come into events, but I was often approached by family members. This is going back to like early teenage years, to come on board as a chief organizer of family gatherings, celebrations, and that then like led into weddings. And for me, I did get an enjoyment out of formulating people's vision into, an experience, not just an event, something that happened on a day. No, I had that ability to really draw out their passions, their vision in terms of the senses. What do they want? What do they want people to taste? What did they want people to hear? What did they want people to feel? So I was just able to pull that out and to translate that into a living, breathing experience. So I guess that's what I'm talking about.
No, that sounds good. Sounds really good. You've kind of answered the burning question that I had. So I saw that you've done a business studies degree, and
yes.
I know that must be really handy in running your own business. Yeah. But I was wondering, did you always know you wanted to have your own business, and furthermore, your own events business?
No, certainly not. Just going a little bit back to, being the chief organizer, I just felt that people didn't want to do it. I just felt those around me, they thought, oh, that's just like getting your hands dirty, having to communicate with people. I just felt like they just handed it over to me. That's how I felt at the time. And then even going towards my 18th birthday, I had no idea about my career route, what I wanted to do. Actually, I was more interested in music. I had a singing group. There were 4 of us. I think we were thought we were Destiny Child. It was that era. So we all were trying to be Beyonce sort of thing.
I was going to say, which one were you? Who were you in the group?
I'm not going to, I shan't say. I'm not sure if we can guess. So we were actually en route the competition that we joined was for a recording contract, and we got to the semi-finals. So we were absolutely elated, thinking that we're going to be big stars. And then, that didn't happen. So for me at that time, I determined, I'm going to take the university route. My brother had gone to university. So then for me, university was, an opportunity that I wanted to take. And I determined that business studies would be something that was like give me scope to potentially go into any area of business, because as I said, I wasn't that specific. I didn't really know. Kind of long story short, how events all fits into this is that, so after my university degree in Birmingham, I returned to my hometown, Reading, and I met a lovely young man at the time.
Well, hopefully he's still lovely.
He's still lovely too, yeah. So, I met Ben, who is my now husband, and within a few short years of dating, we obviously took the decision to want to marry. And then obviously a large part of getting married is the wedding planning. And this just sparked something within me, a zeal and a passion that I'd never, ever felt before. We had our event vision. We worked on that together, what we wanted the day to feel like, to look like, how we wanted our guests to feel. We thought about it to that degree. And after that period of time of planning and obviously having a successful wedding day, I said to myself quite clearly, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to, at some point in life, set up my own professional service, as a qualified event planner, wedding planner. It was a bit muddy, if it was going to definitely be just events or weddings, but it was a definitive moment for me. And it actually took 8 years from that point to bring Destiny Events into existence, into its birth. 8 years. There was quite a journey that I went through to get to that point. I don't really mind sharing about that journey. Some people might think it's very personal, but actually it's quite integral, quite centric to why my business is named Destiny Events Professional. So should I share? Yeah. So after getting married, for me, my plan was married at 24, babies at 26, career at, after that point. So anyway, 26 came. I was married at 24. 26 came, and we were not able to have children. And for me, this was quite, a complex in time of my life. It didn't make sense what was going on with me. And it became a very dark time of my life, to be honest with you. It impacted every single aspect of my life, my well-being, Obviously, we had seen the doctors and everything like that, but nothing was coming back as conclusive to understand why, I was not able to have children. And it got to such a, I guess, dark space that I started to realize, okay, I'm just going to stay employed, unhappy, underachiever. This is going to be my life. I'm just going to make my way through life. That's what I determined until one day. Fortunately, I still had my music. I was still connected to my music. I was actually in another singing group, not the teenage girl group anymore.
You're in the Destiny's Child with just 3 people now, not the original Destiny's
Actually, it was a bigger group. It was more like a choir now. And I loved that. I loved singing. And there was a particular lady that I just became quite connected to. She one day was sharing with me that she plans to run a workshop in Birmingham. And it was a music-related workshop. And I wanted to hear more about it. So she told me a bit more about it. And I was like, okay, I'd love to come. She's like, oh, yeah, please do, sort of thing. But from that moment, we just formed a relationship that went outside of music. So it went to family, it went to interest, but ultimately it came back to business. And I realized that this woman's got some drive. Like, she's a bit older than me. She's got so much drive and zeal for life. I just couldn't understand what was she on? What was she on? And after spending a lot of time around her, I realized that she had a growth mindset. She was just never satisfied with being at one level in life. And she wasn't just having a growth mindset to further herself, but to impact other people's life. So I discovered that she was a coach in the world of, at the time, multinational telecommunications. So I was like, okay. So the coach mindset, there's something I started to discover after that point, being around her and then some other people in her network, that, coaches and consultants just have a next level mindset. And I wanted some of it. I wanted it.
So how did you go about getting it?
So I basically, I stuck to her like glue. I stuck to her like glue to understand. Basically, she was then actually, after delivering that workshop in Birmingham, she had talked about wanting to set up her own executive coaching business, independent. So coming away from employment to self-employment. So I stuck around her to understand, what's she going to do? How's this going to happen? And then in what she was offering, her services, she was delivering events. So I was like, Then basically she invited me to come on board as her events manager. So I was coached. I mean, I thought I had some skills to organize people and to organize people and to get things, to make things successful. But she started to show me new levels of like intellect. Like, she started to show me how to design content, she actually showed me how to design experiences. So that was an eye-opening for me. And I remember I always used to be around her with a notepad because my brain could contain the learning. So I literally had a notepad everywhere I went with her. She absolutely inspired me. She helped me to dream again. And I made a decision that I'm going to be happy. Okay, I'm not actually at the place that I want to be in life, but I have a choice. I can either drown or I can try and, come up to higher levels. And that was supposed to be my destiny. I say I came up to high levels because after, I would say, 2 years of working with her, my dream came true of conceiving my twins, Amari and Amania.
That is so lovely. That's so amazing. But you see, it just shows that when you're doing something you love, everything will fall into place. Like, it could have just been the negative energy and the pressure from the other job. There's so many reasons it could have been, but just really look after yourself and then everything will come right.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, it was, the experience of that dream coming true that initiated, or ignited rather, me to believe in myself, that I could reconnect you know, back to that triggering moment, all those 8 years back, it gave me that confidence to realize your dream isn't going to fall in your lap.
There you go.
You need to be resilient. You need to be resilient. You need to have a determined mind. You have to accept that failure is a part of the process. It's not going to fall on your lap. So, you know, I was surrounded with people like Sylvia. Also, my dad is quite an inspiration to me. He, in terms of mindset and motivation, he's been quite inspirational to me. So, yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. It sounds like you really got a lot of benefit from was the lady's name Sylvia, is that right?
Sylvia. Yeah.
Cool. So I think a lot of us will have people around us who could help on the journeys and stuff, but not know how to use them. Is there anything specific that you did to really get the most out of your interactions and relationships with her?
Yes, I would say I had a real interest for her as a person, not just for what I could get out of her in terms of my career. I genuinely liked her and came to love her as a friend. Yes. So my interest was outside of just, you know, what I initially thought was going to propel me to the next level in terms of business. I mean, we have gone on, and even from those early days, we used to go to high tea, you know, with each other, spa days with each other. I traveled to Germany with her to sing. So we still had that connection as well with the singing. So yeah, it was understanding that she's a holistic person, and so am I. It's not just segmented to business.
Yeah, no, that's important. That's definitely
important.
Did you explain to her that events were the passion of yours, or did that just come out naturally over time?
This is I don't want to say eerie because, you know, I believe in destiny. But yeah.
How was the name?
Pardon? Say that again.
The company name that you believe in.
Yeah, absolutely do. So yeah, as I noted, she talked to me about the workshop that she was going to do, and I expressed interest in it, interested in the subject matter. Yeah. And she accepted for me to come. And I missed this part out. About a week later, she came back to me and said, for this event, you are going to be the event manager. I had never had any discussion with her at all about interest in events, nothing of the sort. And nobody really in my circle, you know, knew that as well, apart from, you know, my early childhood days or teenage days. So this is what I'm talking about. Things came together to align to put me in a position to grow and to rise from where I was.
Fantastic. That's cool. And so when we've been speaking about events, we've mentioned like weddings and your 18th birthday and things like that. First of all, before we even get into my question, well done on successfully planning your own wedding. I remember a couple of years ago, I helped my mum with hers, and I was just like, but I got paid with a whole tier of cake, so that was really beneficial to me. I'm happy.
Yeah, it's an intricate thing, isn't it? There's so many moving parts, so many decisions to be made at the right time, in the right order on some occasions. It's something that you really have to love, I feel, to especially go on to develop your own independent or run your own independent service. It's not something you do for fun. Well, you do it for fun, but it's not something you do, you know, lightheartedly. It has to be in you, like in your DNA, really.
No. So where I was going with this is we've spoken about weddings, and when we say events, I think of like huge conferences or parties and weddings and things like that. And I personally really miss those because of the pandemic. Obviously, they've taken that away from us. But how did the pandemic affect your business?
Karimah, I know we don't have long, but I'll make it sweet and make it short. So it was March 2020. That was the D-Day. That was the day of the crash and burn for the events industry. Well, that's certainly what I was hearing from the channels and the individuals that I was connected to. You know, mad panics and mad rushes. For me, what happened was a number of postponements initially of my in-person events. Then came the cancellations, and then real panic, you know, arrived at my door. And largely this was because January 2020 was the year that I determined to run Destiny events full time. Before that, I had it as a part-time business alongside being employed. So, you got the safety net, you got your safety net. So when March 2020 came, I didn't have that safety net anymore. Everything was literally slipping out of my hands. And for me, I just couldn't accept what I was hearing, that largely it's going to be in person. They're going to come back. We're going to wait. We're just going to wait out. We're going to wait. We're going to get all our contracts sorted out, because that was another big hoo-ha in the industry at the time. That contracts for events like venues and suppliers were not watertight. They didn't have anything about pandemics and anything about how to manage cancellations, how prices. So I decided it's not my destiny is not to go under. I haven't really even got this thing off the ground. It cannot be the case. So I became quite curious, like, what can I do? And I think I sat there for a week thinking to myself, what can I do? I think I expected to some degree, like something to just like drop from the sky to tell me what to do. Yeah. Then I realized, okay, I started to have, wanted to investigate more. So then my good old friend Google stepped in, and I was there investigating what networks are there, what resources are there, what is anything specifically for the events industry. And it was at that time that I discovered the Women in Business Network online. And then within that, you have obviously a number of entrepreneurs and small business owners, women, who have obviously their specific fields of business. And then I discovered a coaching business that was running a 12-week crisis management program for COVID. And everything that this program talked about was like, that is ticking some massive boxes. That's a yes, that's a yes, that's a yes. So I connected with, they are still in existence and actually winning awards now. The program is called the Academy of Women Entrepreneurs. So yeah, everything that was downloaded, I would say, within that course, it was a 12-week course, was just on the money for me. It was like a roadmap. It was literally a roadmap. So, for example, Jay, who's the coach, would be sharing about building relationships still with your clients. Don't drop off. You need to be visible to be in their space. You need to understand what their needs are. So I was like, okay, I can do that. I can, talk to my customers, or my clients. So when I spoke to my clients, largely then it was even business owners, like startup, and some of my clients were already coaches and consultants. So I noticed they were already putting on their own virtual events. So I was like, these guys, they're a bit ahead of the game. They're trying, they're running their Zoom events, they're doing stuff. And when I spoke more to my clients, I recognized that they're doing the tech stuff, but it's not what they enjoy. They're not feeling it. They don't really like doing that. But if there's an opportunity for them to collaborate with somebody to do that, they'll be giving that away. And for them, because they are go-to individuals, they are very much into having or delivering a brand experience. It's not just about, a plain old Jane event. They want their clients, their audience, to feel something, to be connected. So I was like, okay, I'm hearing what they're saying. I'm looking, I'm listening. And once the phone was down, after having those conversations with them, I was like, oh dear, that means digital. That means technology. That just seemed like a world so far removed from where I was. Obviously, in-person events, you do work with AV suppliers, you work with engineers, and that's good. You hand over that information for them to deal with the client requirements, and that was all good for me. But now technology is knocking, like banging at my door, and I was like, wow, okay, I'm going to do some research. I'm quite good at research. So let me do some research to understand what this virtual events business is all about. So did some research. I understood, okay, I could put together an offering. I could do something here. But then there was still like something not quite connected. And it was that I still didn't believe that I would be able to deliver an excellent service. So what I did was to discover a course. I'm always into courses. I just discovered a course.
Always educating yourself and finding the gap to fill. So that's good. That's really good.
So I discovered a course. This time it actually wasn't specific to virtual events. It was about just digital transformation. And the first, like one of the opening modules was around growth mindset. It is about being open to learning, experiencing, connecting with other people, collaborating. So I was like, okay, I can do that. I can do that. I can do growth mindset. And then I started to understand a lot of my life is digital anyway. My phones, my apps, my communications, video conferencing, I'm doing this stuff anyway. So I was like, oh, okay. So walls are starting to be broken down by me, you know, understanding and accepting that this is very much a part of my life anyway. So then the step I took from there was to align with the Virtual Events Institute. So these are kind of leaders now in the event space for training event professionals to deliver, to create, produce, and monetize virtual events. So through that channel of, you know, that course that they delivered, I've been able to acquire my accreditation as a virtual events professional. But the beautiful thing I think about that course is that it had a number of leaders in the event space delivering the various modules. There was about 10 modules. So with that, I just used the opportunity to discover them on LinkedIn and befriend them. I'm like, hello.
It's all about the networking.
Yeah.
Like, it's really all about the networking.
Yeah. I wanted to appreciate them and share that knowledge they shared was so insightful. You know, I'm going to be following their stuff. And then from that, they would just add me as connections. So now when I go to some of the industry events, there as a spectator in the audience, but when they see my name come up, they're like, hello, Marie. And I'm like, hello, I know them. So yeah, I just came into that space through the Virtual Events Institute. But then the thing for me, being wired with kind of, well, not kind of, definitely an excellence value, I wanted to have enterprise level experience of working on virtual events. And so with that, I discovered another opportunity to work with a leading virtual events platform who are delivering professional events in you know, day in, day out, summits, conferences. These are for like Fortune 500 companies and leading brands. So I got right in there. It's like, I'm an event professional. I can learn. Tell me what I need to do. I want to see how everything works in the back end. I need to know. I want to know. And that has been a great experience to collaborate on that level. And with that, it has enabled me to form Destiny Events as kind of two streams. So I have my private clients, so my consultants and coaches, and I have a contracting side to Destiny Events where I will work with virtual event platforms or other event professionals that want or need support to make events happen in a virtual space.
Okay, that sounds good. It sounds like you got as the company went, I guess, to become a technology company, you really got in the weeds and got quite techie.
Got in there, Karimah. Yeah, that started, I would say, with my own setup, like having to upgrade. Lots of cables, lots of you know, investigating what's the best type of second monitor to use, what's the best type of lighting. So I invested in a spotlight, invested in like a headset, noise cancelling. So that was like the first stage, is just like getting best practice for being in the virtual space. So that's how it started.
Cool, fantastic. And did you find that any of your, I guess we've spoken about the fact that you are always about education and always about learning new things. But did you find that any of the skills that you had from the in-person events were, I guess, quite transferable into the digital space?
Yes, most certainly. Communication. That is probably one of the top skills to have, whether you are in person or virtual. When I say communication, it is actually probably more over communicating for the planning and creation of virtual events, because there are other players that can make or break your event. I mean, in the virtual event space, or for a virtual event, you need to hear people, you need to see people. So, you know, you've got to be working quite tightly with your suppliers or an agency that's delivering the production.
Yeah.
You've got to be on the same hymn sheet. So that's a very intentional, very intentional communications.
Cool. So then what would, and I know it varies by event, but what would a typical day look like for you?
So on a day when I have a virtual event, I would initially, so largely, let me talk from my perspective in terms of working with the virtual event platform, and then I'll quickly talk about what that looks like as the chief organizer for private clients, because they're two separate things. So in terms of live coordination for virtual event platforms, the people that will be involved on the day would be the events producer. So he would be the one that is making everything look seamless and putting things on the screen at the right time, the music in the right order, the right people on the screen at the right time. So basically he is following what is called a run of show. So I work closely to ensure that has been executed properly. So what we do really is have a separate communications line to make sure that everything's running to schedule. There's so much happening in the background for professional events. So yeah, there will also be a communication channel with the client, making sure that everything is good from their end and that they are happy. So it's a communication role largely, my involvement in virtual events, but that doesn't just start on the day. There is a lead up, obviously, to that from the beginning, where the event app, so really the event app is the venue in virtual space. The event app is built according to the customers or the client's requirements. So they might want networking, they might want breakout rooms, they might want interactive polls, they might want competition. So all of that is built, and I'm amazed to say I can build, you know,
Wow.
I can build the virtual event platform, the event app, and make sure everything's in its right place, in its rightful place. So yeah, it's a complex setup.
What platform do you use, or does it vary?
Largely, we use SpotMe.
Okay.
SpotMe. Similar functionality to things such as Hopin, also Swapcard, Hubilo, Candance. Actually, do you know now, I think when I first came into the event space, there was around 300. The growth rate, there was around 300 event platforms. It's way beyond that now. And there are so many other different solutions. Sometimes in a virtual event platform will use third-party tech to integrate within the platform. So it can get quite daunting to...
I'm not going to act like I know any of this. The only one I'm actually recognised was Hopin, and I just like Hopin does the networking with like the where you can have like 1 minute limit and then it switches to the next person. But I'm sure like, every other
networking, I guess it's important. Just I guess if it sounds really complicated to each other, to other people, sorry, is that so Zoom is kind of, you know, easily accessible by most people to just run an event. It could be run by as little as 2 people. However, a virtual event platform is more about delivering a experience for the audience. So it takes into consideration their likes and dislikes and gives ability for them to personalize, so they can add into their diary which sessions they want to go to, who they want to meet. As you noted, they have an ability to speed network. They can go into different rooms. And all this is built intentionally within the event agenda. So aesthetically, it's a nicer experience than Zoom. It feels more important, it feels more professional. And also, I've noted that speakers prepare a lot better when they are presenting on a platform that, looks expensive and feels expensive. They up their game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I guess if you're on a Zoom, it kind of just feels like you're having a chat. You have so many personal and work meetings on Zoom.
Yeah.
It's not like going to a whole different space and actually going to a venue kind of thing that you'd get with another platform.
Karimah, sorry, I have seen some awful, I have to say, experiences of events that are, well, they're not events. They're labeled as events, but when I get there, and I have seen, unfortunately, the hosts fumbling about, like they're articulating what's happening with their computer, because like they haven't rehearsed, they haven't understood where things are. So they're like, oh, okay, I'm just going to put everybody on mute now. I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to do that. I'm like, oh my gosh, how this is not. And they may go between calling it an event to calling it a meeting to calling it a call. So all these different languages are floating about all over the place, and you're there as the audience, feeling really confused and like, this is not well put together. This is a reflection of your brand. Yeah.
So it's always preparation. Preparation's key.
Oh my goodness, preparation is key. You can never over prepare. But saying that, you work in technology and you know that.
Wrong. It's like they say, never work with, kids and animals? Never work with computers either. Like, things will always go wrong.
Yeah, things will always go wrong. But if you've got a competent team around you, they'll have it covered. They'll have contingencies. And as long as there's an ability to communicate with the audience to make them aware, the audience is quite forgiving. It just has to be factored in to, the planning, the experience, the audience experience has to be thought of. And
no, definitely. So going back to the people in your life and the people in your career, we spoke about Sylvia and how she really helped you to, I guess, find your destiny and really take off from there. But in the industry specifically, is there anybody who's just really been a big role model to you and really inspired you to be where you are today?
I wouldn't say I have one specific role model, but I definitely have individuals who have inspired me. So I refer to, the qualification, the Virtual Events Institute, and form connections. And so trying to say his name, Miguel Neves, of the chief editor of Event MB. I follow him like a hawk. He has always the latest emerging trends. Event MB is really big in the events industry. It gives opportunities for event professionals to voice their concerns or their thoughts about what's coming next. And it also shows the Event MB at large as well, also gives the perspective of the landscape generally in terms of the events industry and its impact by other industries as well. So that's really great. In terms of event tech, Liz Chirurzo is somebody I follow as well to understand what are the latest trends. I would say they are largely my go-to people. Then I have some other influences outside of the industry, which I think is important to have, because if you're just boxed in an industry, you can't really grow beyond that. So it's not necessarily people as well. So you might think I'm a bit weird with what I'm going to say, but Google has this excellent resource called Think with Google. And I'm not sure if you've discovered it or come across it before. It shares about the latest consumer interest and insights. So, Google, as we know, is a data mine. And it just gives you the insight to understand behaviors, consumer behaviors. I subscribe to them quite heavily to understand, okay, is there anything specifically that could be filtered into events or could inform, the building of events?
Yeah.
And then back to people, my clients, they are my inspiration. As I've noted, my life has been greatly impacted by working alongside the coach. They are my inspiration. They are the powerhouse. They have a real interest to help people advance their lives. They know how to put tools into people's hands. Also to cause a bit of conflict, because they don't want, obviously, they don't want us to feel comfortable. They want us to grow, and there's going to be growing pains, really.
That's really cool. That's nice. And I've got to check out, what was it, Google Insights?
Think with Google. With Google, yeah. And so sometimes they just do like a email shot with like some of the latest trends, but they also have these they're called playbooks. So it's like snippets of little videos, like a carousel, and it's like they have got that. The way they deliver that content is just absolutely fantastic, really engaging, really to the point. Think with Google.
Cool, yeah, because I can see, as you said, it will show like the what's hot with the consumers, but also where you've just mentioned the way that it's delivered and things, that can really help in your event space, because you can take tips from that as well.
Yes. Yeah. I think that's one of the key things in the virtual event space. It's not just about dishing out content, it's about the delivery of it. Is it actually engaging? Is it appealing to people? Is it the right length? Are they using the right colors? All branding elements, really.
Yeah. Cool. All right, that sounds good. So we've spoken a couple of times about the Virtual Events Institute, and I don't like the fact that you've been playing it down. You were one of the first out of hundreds of people to get that certification. So
top 10 in the world. Yes.
Well done. Well done. That is a great achievement. And then we've also spoken about your blessings as well. You've got your happy family, which is amazing. But tell me, what's one of your biggest achievements to date?
So it certainly, without a shadow of a doubt, has to just be surviving 2020, not going down in flames. It's 2020, the survival and the growth therein. And I cannot accredit that just to myself. Yes, I took some steps, but people helped me. I would say that the events industry really built a community that actually there were small pockets of like micro communities, and everyone just wanted to help each other to progress. So it's an achievement just to have not gone down in flames for 2020, to be still in a space now where I feel like I'm relevant and making an impact, helping people to, in essence, still live their dream. Their business is still able to function because they've got events that can help people to connect and people to grow.
Yeah, cool. I want to ask you I want you to give me an honest answer to this question right now. If you didn't jack in your job in January and go all in with Destiny's events, do you think you would still? No? Okay.
I would not have done it ever. Because, I mean, who's going to leave a cushy? Well, I was unhappy. I did say that and I meant it. But at least I had income. I had my security blanket. So it was already, if I'm honest with you, scary enough when I handed my notice in January. It was a scary moment. That wasn't an easy thing to do, because I'm now going into uncharted ground. Yes, I have the zeal, I have the passion. And I remember, I'm going to have to quote him, Steve Harvey. I was following some of his videos, and he was sharing that, in life, you've got to do your dream. You got to do what you love. And let me tell you something, he said, when you first step out, there's a phase of excitement. You're going to be over the moon. It's going to be freedom. And then you're going to jump. It's like jumping out of a plane. Happy, well, not really happy, but you're jumping out. And then the parachute that you think is going to open doesn't open. That's how he described it. The parachute chute doesn't open. Well, certainly it doesn't open straight away. It's only after some time that the parachute opens, and that's how he describes going into your own business. And boy, he was not lying. I heard him say it.
Yeah. Down to 2020, that parachute wasn't opening at all.
Parachute. I don't know where the parachute was. The parachute, I don't even know where it was. But I just had to still be determined to find it. I was like, I've been told it's there. It's going to come. Yeah.
Oh, cool. So we've had a couple of questions submitted from the Black Tech Queen community. So I'm going to jump with the first one. So where do you see the future of events going?
The future of events. So the trend on paper is so that is that perfect marriage of virtual and in person. So I think traditionally we might have understood that pre-COVID as streaming a live event. So having an in-person event, sticking a camera back in the back of the room and streaming it to, an online audience. That's not going to be hybrid now. We have essentially, two different audiences with different needs. I'm seeing now actually more in the corporate, larger corporations, the introduction of hybrid events that is starting to happen, but I'm not seeing it on the ground for small businesses, for independent services like that of my clients. Not seeing that yet. So what am I seeing? People who are they're looking to stay closer to home. Events are starting up as smaller events, smaller number of, smaller audience size. And I think that's going to continue for some time because obviously there's still largely uncertainty. Yeah. There's uncertainty everywhere, and that's not just going to change because of an event. So, yeah. Also as well, personalization. And I'm just so glad, I have to say it, that I was ahead of the trend in that, creating experiences that are customized, that are unique, that are bespoke. That's been like my bread and butter. That's what my clients have always described my events as. One of unique. You can't get that anywhere. So this is coming into the space now. Organizers want their audience to enjoy the event for what it is on the day, but beyond the event. So yeah, personalization. So that can be achieved largely through you're going to love this, Karimah, the organizer starting with a strategy, an event strategy that links to an overall arching like marketing strategy. So it's not just putting an event on for the sake of it. It links to business goals. So the event becomes a part of, as I said, the larger marketing strategy. So within that, there are other touch points that the audience comes into contact, obviously, with the client. So pre-event, during the event, and after the event. So there's a follow-up that links them in potentially to a community, like you've got your community. Community is going to be a big thing as well. That's how you make the engagement last beyond the event. It's building that community, being invested in a community, because people aren't, I feel, and these are Google trend insights as well, people want meaningful connections that don't just give them a quick fix, that people want to invest their money, their time into something that is going to largely impact their life, change their life.
No,
so yeah.
And do you know what? I'm going to put a question out to the Black Tech Queen community. So I want you guys to message us, let us, whether it be in the comments or on our social media, and let us know what you'd like to see from the community to help you. What would make you feel like this is for me? Because I think whilst we've got ideas from our side, we really need to hear what the audience and what the wider community needs. So that's the homework for everybody out there. So and if you don't like it, blame Marie. It's her fault.
What? How do I get the blame?
But you mentioned about hybrid events. How, and so historically, just like what you said, I've always thought, all right, camera at the back of the room, and then, but
Stream that out.
Exactly. But how can you make that engaging now for
Intentional
the people
design. Sorry, I think I cut you there. Say that again.
How can you make it engaging for the people who are remote as well?
So again, this comes back to strategy. Why are you doing the event? Who are the people that you're trying to impact? Are the requirements or are the interests of the people on site in person the same as people online? Probably not. So you need to then think about a design for the in-person event and the design of engaging design for the online online audience. So it's about trying to just think of or the audience as one thing. It's definitely segmenting that and understanding the needs. So that means speaking. It literally means it's going to speak to people. It's okay to do that. And I think a lot of businesses think you show your vulnerability. Actually, you want to be relevant. So you need to speak to the people, understand what their needs are. What are their needs? And how can you bring something to them that meets that need, but also surprises them? You've got to put the wow in it. That's how you grow your events and have people coming back to eat more, because you've taken them to another level in some respect.
Oh, cool. That sounds good. Another question that we got. So if you could do any other job, what would it be?
I think events, because of the ability to do so many different types of events, kind of really ticks all the boxes for me in terms of the things I enjoy in life. Although I'm not doing it now, I have planned concerts. Music is my love. I've had the opportunity on one particular event to have delegated very, very well, to the degree that I was able to perform as well. I was able to sing on the stage at that event. So, as I said, it's potentially, so much scope to do different types of events and have different types of experiences that it kind of really does tick all the boxes for me. So might sound like a kind of little get out, but that that is my reality.
It's amazing when you've got all the options in the world and you choose what you're doing. That shows passion and it shows that you're doing what you should be. So it's good.
I think events chose me. As I described earlier, it wasn't necessarily conscious from a young age, but I feel that events chose me. People around me could see that this was my thing. And it kind of kicked into gear.
Good. So I see we're almost coming to time. So I guess there are some last questions, which is, this actually got me quite sad because I could talk to you forever, and I probably will. So, but tell me, what's next for you?
What's next for me? So I would say I declared this as a year of collaboration. I wanted to continue to not work in a silo. I feel that was very much me before the pandemic. Marie doing her little events, but the door has been burst open by the pandemic. So it's continuing to look for opportunities to collaborate, and fortunately, that is starting to happen. So I will be working on my first hybrid event in September of this year. I can't divulge the details of that yet, but the future for me is hybrid. As I noted earlier, largely that has not been seen with small businesses or coaches. This particular event is with a corporate client, so I'm collaborating with another event professional for that event. The future, what else would I say? The future would be growing to have a team. Yeah, growing to have a team. I want to work with people, not just in contracts with different agencies. I want to have some people under my wings to run with a vision. Yeah.
That is good. Like, you've had people help you in your journey, and
Yeah.
That's it. All right, and then I ask all of my guests this. So, if there's any advice that you well, is there any advice that you'd give to either a Black tech queen who's starting out in her career or who's trying to further her career in tech?
Yes. Again, it comes back to people seeking opportunities to either be mentored. I actually forgot to add that one of my inspirations is my mentor of QE2. I've got a mentor at the QE2 in London. So yeah, seek opportunities to be mentored so that you can literally eat out of their lap, understand the experience, and the benefit that will bring is also opening up other doors to other connections, because then you'll have a whole network to learn, to discover new opportunities to help you grow. So largely that's what I would say. And how can they do that? Even starting with LinkedIn, discover big players in the field, start to follow them, comment on their content. Maybe if they've got a course, it doesn't necessarily have to be a paid course, it could be a free course. Sign up to that. Get the downloads, enjoy their content, go back to them in their private. I'm just giving some little tactics here. Go back to them on LinkedIn, message them and say, I've done this course with you. I enjoyed this because of this, this, and this. You would be very surprised at the reaction you get, because how many people actually do that, connect with the subject matter expert who really does that. I found it as an opportunity to reach out and to just get those insights, get really into the crux of the industry. So that would be my advice: to build. Don't be afraid. People like seeing people that are hungry for knowledge, hungry to grow. That would be my little words of, I'm not sure if you call it wisdom, because I keep calling myself a young woman, so I shouldn't be saying that I've got wisdom.
You can have wisdom at any age.
Yeah.
From your wisdom teeth come through, you've got wisdom. Okay.
Thank you.
But yeah, and I've never thought of it like that. I guess I do it occasionally, but when you reach out to the people, be specific about the modules and stuff, and actually, not just, oh, that was great hearing you speak, but make it personalize
Absolutely.
it.
Yeah.
For events, personalize everything.
It's just, I just, there's something in me that just likes to appreciate people. I'm just wired that way. I probably say thank you too much, but that's just who I am. I like people to feel appreciated. I like people to know that I have a genuine interest for them. I'm not just there to get something. I want to give something. I also want to help them.
Yeah, cool. And on that note, I want to say how much we appreciate you, Marie, and we really appreciate your time today and sharing your journey. I can't wait to come to some of your events, whether it be remote or in person. I'm looking forward to that.
That'd be fantastic.
Everybody, if you want to keep up to date with what Marie's doing, all of her details, well, not all of her details, the links to her the relevant pages are in the description. So make sure you're following. And remember as well to follow us at Black Tech Queens. And we're going to sign off. So thank you, Marie. It's been a pleasure having you.
Thank you, Karimah. Thank you. I do appreciate this time and this space.
Anytime, no worries at all. And to everybody, remember to always inspire, aspire, and achieve. And until next time, bye.